Hi, Sandra Mae.
Hi, Dirk.
How are you? Listen, before just want a quick introduction. I'm talking to Sandra Mae Lux at the moment. Before we start, I'm just going to play a quick lick of your single. So bear with me. Technology is great sometimes, but it also can let you down. So the
Indeed.
single's called "Moment in the Sun" from the album "Happily Ever Now." Am I correct? That's the
You
title,
are
yeah.
correct. That's it.
Okay, just play a quick clip of it.
I see someone who is brave. You don't wait to be seen. You got the brains, you got the drive. Oh, what a time to be alive.
And indeed, what a time to be alive.
Indeed.
So that's why I wanted to stop in it. But it's a fabulous song. It's a fabulous album.
Oh, thank you.
No, just mean praise where praise is due, and it's a great kickback to Motown. I found, and um, I was born in the '60s, so I loved old Motown '70s vibe. Even though I'm more a bit more of a metalhead and a rocker, but I always had a soft spot for Motown sounds, and I think it's great when I was looking at your bio and on how the album was recorded. When you see brand names like Wurlitzer, Gibson, Pearl, I think it's just great when somebody actually put in the effort to use instruments to record the
Yeah,
album old
all
school.
analog instruments that were from that day.
Yeah, and I think that's just fantastic because I'm a old school kind of guy. I got an old fashioned. I love the old style music. So yeah. So
Oh, good.
but of course, living in the in the time we were living, it must have been quite difficult for you to record the album, given all the
Well,
restrictions.
luckily, we recorded it right before lockdown. So the tracks, the band tracks, so the bed tracks we call them, so guitar, bass, drums, keys, and everything. All of that was recorded just before lockdown in early February. And
Oh,
then I don't know if you know the process of making an album. It's not a quick one. It took about 9 months from start to finish. It's kind of like having a baby. It's like
yeah,
so basically after we had all the bed tracks and my producer had mixed them all, then I had to start taking the car because we couldn't go on the tube or anything. We had to borrow my friend's car. Bless him, he let us borrow his car to drive up to North London and put in the vocals. I play sax on all of it, so I did all the sax parts and everything. Amazingly, because of technology as well, I wanted a brass player, a trumpet player. So he lives in Hastings. He sent over his parts. I needed a percussionist. He sent over his parts. So this has been like a true lockdown album. It's been brilliant, and thank goodness for technology because this wouldn't have been able to be a thing, even 10 years ago. So
yeah. I mean, see, people often look at the negatives of lockdown, but there is positives to it as well, and this will be one of them, I suppose. And it, it won't go unnoticed. You are wearing a mask. That's also on the album. So I take it that's the image you want to go with.
yeah, that's my image. I mean, I really wanted the music to speak for itself. So instead of it being about me and my face and me, I really wanted it to be about the music and the music that was created. So that's why I wanted to kind of take emphasis away from what I sort
What
of
you
look
look like.
like.
Okay. I
Yeah.
mean, the music does speak for itself. I mean,
Oh.
there's no doubt about that. But who influenced you the most musically in making the album, or is there any influence whatsoever? It's just
Well, I'm obviously a huge lover of the '70s soul music. So bands like Earth, Wind, and Fire, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, Donny Hathaway, Etta James, Aretha Franklin, jazzers as well, such as Ella Fitzgerald, Dexter Gordon, um, uh, just lots of incredible. There was just so much incredible music that came out of the 70s, and I feel like there's just this warmth and joy and groove about it that just really, really spoke to me. Like Doobie Brothers as well, Steely Dan, you know, just phenomenal people that came out of the 70s that just really spoke to me, and I love the warmth and the whole vibe.
Yeah, I mean, and they're all, each one of them that you named, they're all incredible bands, incredible musicians. Unfortunately, for a younger generation, most of those names will mean nothing.
I know.
Uh, but having said that, though, sometimes I have 3 kids myself, even though they're kind of young idols at the moment. But sometimes I put a song on, and I'm surprised that they're singing along with the likes of the Doobie Brothers, for instance. I thought, oh, I didn't realize that they knew that all Earth, Wind, and Fire, and suddenly that you hear this little voice in the background singing along with the song on the radio. So it's still out there. So, but good music will last, and that's
Yes,
it. It is.
definitely.
And they're carrying out. In relation to, because I realized that compared to even 20 years ago, 30 years ago, musicians would earn the money in album sales, single sales, but that's changed the last 2 decades, I suppose.
Oh,
yes. So it's more, yeah, it's more live gigs now. So that's going to be a bit tricky for you now, though. Did you have any chance to play anything live recently, or?
A year ago in September, that was the first time that all these songs that I've written with my partner Alan Marriott, that was the first time we put the band together and put them live on stage, because you kind of have to play the songs live first to figure out how they'll work in the studio, and just to get the feel of the whole sound and how it's all going to work. And so that was September of last year, and since then it's kind of, I haven't been able to play any gigs of my music. Obviously I'm a gigging musician, I play with a lot of cover bands. But then once the lockdown hit, like all of my gigs kind of went away, and it's a very, very interesting and challenging time for musicians, because normally, okay, we don't have the album sales anymore, people are streaming music, you know, that's just the way it's going to be, we're not going to go back, you know, it doesn't go backwards, we're never going to go back to, you know, record sales. But at least before lockdown, musicians could tour and they could sell merch at these at their concerts. They could, you know, get on people's mailing addresses, get people's, you know, email addresses, and keep in touch. And unfortunately now all of that has disappeared. So it's just you got to think differently now. Musicians have to sort of think outside the box, and there are wonderful there's a wonderful company called Bandcamp, and they actually I don't know if you know, but streaming rates like on Spotify, it's, you know, fractions of pennies that you get per
Yeah, I
play.
know. I'm
Make
well aware
money.
of that.
Yeah, so Bandcamp is lovely because people can actually go to the site and either buy the album as a physical thing, or just download the album, and they only take 15%. And on Fridays during lockdown, they've been doing a thing where they waive their 15% fee completely, because they understand the plight of musicians at the moment. So there are companies out there who are incredibly supportive as well. So Bandcamp at the moment is kind of the way to go.
That's good. Actually, just since you mentioned albums, just going to share the album cover, and it's again, it looks very 70s, but let me see now. Okay.
My very good friend and artist who lives around the corner, Fiona, painted that by hand and designed it and everything as well. So this album has been quite a local experience as well. You know, the artist was just around the corner. Yeah, there it is.
It's very colorful.
Yeah, there it is.
It's great. And as I said, and that's you in the corner playing the saxophone, I assume. Yeah,
that's me.
Very good. No, again, it has that 70s vibe. It reminds me a small bit of an odd album, and I can't think of it. I think there was actually a Led Zeppelin album, looks a small bit like that.
Oh.
So I don't have to dig it up again, because I have one of those in my
definitely
collection. So yeah, no, it's again, it is it's a piece of art as well. So and that's what I miss now with streaming, because
Mm,
you don't have that.
mm.
You don't have the actually the artwork, and because
In your hands, yeah.
yeah, 'cause I like the feel of an physical album as well. So uh,
Totally.
when you said earlier though, there's no going back. Funny enough, though, I see more and more artists coming out with vinyl albums again, which I
Totally.
had thought that was a thing of the past, but it's good to kind of see that coming back again as well. So
Yeah, it is. And I do feel like my music would lend itself well to a vinyl pressing, but unfortunately incredibly expensive to do it.
yeah, no,
So once I have enough pre-orders, because people have been asking about it. So once I have enough pre-orders, I myself will also do a vinyl pressing. But obviously that's not the main source of income for
no,
artists.
and
Yeah.
that's be a bit more tricky now as well. Of course, once we're back to the I don't like to call it the new normal. I want to call it the normal. I suppose
Yeah.
things will be picking up for you again, because uh, you're. I just want to say it again. I don't want to sound over enthusiastic, but the album is great. I've
Thank you.
downloaded it,
Thank you.
and it's good. You mentioned you like jazz as well. I mean, the jazz comes out of it as well. Your voice is very jazzy as well. Kind of has an Ella Fitzgerald vibe to it as well. So
Thank you.
which I think is great. So. But
Yeah.
you're living in London at the moment, but that's not where you were born, though. Because
No, I was born in a very small fishing village in Canada, kind of close to Vancouver, and born of Dutch immigrant parents, and kind of lived there my whole life. And I moved to, I went to school there, so I did my degree in jazz studies on saxophone, with a minor in education at the university there. And then, kind of after piddling about in cover bands and stuff, I realized that, you know what, I kind of want to do something on my own. And I feel like I need to go to a big city to be able to fulfill what I wanted to fulfill. So I moved here with my partner in 2017. And that's when kind of the whole album project started rolling on.
very good. But correct me if I'm wrong, but I've seen you've done a bit of work or worked with the likes of Herbie Hancock, or is there some kind of connection there as well?
Well, I was invited to the Ottawa Jazz Festival twice, and we got to share stages with some incredible musicians, including Herbie Hancock, Joe Lovano, Medeski Martinwood, yeah, just Joshua Redman. So I was very, very lucky to have had that experience at such a young age. I think I was like 22 years old. So
That's,
it was brilliant. It was
that's
brilliant.
great. I mean, and don't be afraid to drop names, because people love that. People love it when you
Oh,
hear those big names. And
oh,
I've been a bit of a fan of Herbie Hancock myself now for a couple of years as well, because even though, as I said, I'm more into rock and metal, but I also like blues, and I like jazz as well. So the last few years I've been going back a small bit to the roots, I suppose, a small bit, and I've rediscovered Herbie Hancock as well, and the man is a legend. So
brilliant.
and it must have been awesome for you to even have met him, leave alone
Oh,
have been
he
able
was
to share the stage with him. So
they are all just incredibly nice people, you know, just humble and kind, and kind of time, giving us the time to actually chat to them. So it was a really amazing experience.
that's good. Now, um, what's how where how do you see the future progressing for you from after this album? Are you planning a new album? Are you writing again, or what's the story? Or are you just more more or less busy promoting this at the moment, his album
Well,
at
I
the moment?
think for the next 6 months, I'm definitely going to really focus on promoting the album as much as I can. Just trying to get the word out there. My one and only goal is that people hear the music. You know, I'm not expecting everyone to like it, obviously, because no one can like everything. But I just want to get it out there to as many people as possible. And I do have a whole nother album's worth of songs that I've written with my partner, and more. So obviously that is something that's going to be on the back burner. And I've also, with my partner, written a whole musical that incorporates all the songs into an overarching story.
All right, all of
So
the songs on Happily Ever Now.
yep, yep, yeah. So
Okay.
they're all part of a musical that hopefully, when things open up, we'll be able to workshop and put on at some point.
Cool. So it
Because it's
might be.
another way that, artists, musicians, it's because the streaming rates are so low and stuff. So having a live show that attaches all your music and people hear it more and maybe buy the CD, and it's just another way to monetize the music that we've written.
Yeah, and be able to go through if you go through theaters as well, kind of perform it that way as well.
Exactly.
That's brilliant. So yeah, if that ever comes out, I'll be the first one to book a ticket, by the way, because
Ah,
I'd like to see that. And if you say, well, I'm of course I'm with Lear Media TV, as we're fairly new as a radio station. Unfortunately, we were kind of um, stopped by COVID as well, because
yes, of
we got
course.
our studio more or less up and running in end of February, but then 2 weeks later, everything was, that was it, the end of that. The studio's still there, but we do go in every once in a while. So, but yes, we will be heavily promoting your album as well, because
Oh, thank you so
it
much.
is a piece of art, and that's what it is.
Oh,
It's just a
thank
piece of
you.
art, and
Thank you.
uh, I don't think there will be anyone who will not like the album, because
Oh,
if they do, if you find out, send them over to me. I'll have a chat with them, and I'll explain to them why they should like it,
oh, bless.
because it's good music, and that's
Oh,
it doesn't matter what kind of music you're into. Um, it is good music, and what I just love the fact that you took the effort to actually have proper musicians, proper instruments, like a Wurlitzer piano, like a Gibson guitar. To me, that's have Marshall amplifiers there as well. Like, to me,
yeah.
that's like I haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah, and a Rhodes
One,
and a real
yeah,
Hammond organ. Like there's nothing like a real Hammond. Like you can
yeah,
do whatever digital ones, but like to it really be there, and the speakers, the Leslie speakers that spin, like is
yeah,
just it's a different experience for sure.
and that's it.
Not better or
Especially,
worse, but I prefer it.
no, I prefer it too, but it has, as you mentioned earlier, the 70s sound. It has this warmth to it, especially from the Motown era. It has a very warm feeling to it. Now, it's not so much for hard rock and metal that can be very dramatic and very raw, but with the Motown sound, it has this warm feeling, and that really translates into your album as well. So, and I think that's well done.
That's great.
Um, well, I don't have anything else really to talk to you about, except for one more thing. I'm just going to call out the album name again. It's called Happily Ever Now. So Sandra Mae Lux, Happy Ever Now. So buy the album. I'm gonna our YouTube channel as well for your album as well, so people can download it
Thank
or
you.
whatever, stream
Thank
it.
you.
But I prefer that people just download it rather than go to Spotify, because as you said, you only get, what is it, less than 1% or something like that for.
It's 0.004 pence per play.
Yeah. So I mean, it's yeah.
So I
I don't
see.
know. I don't know why they don't just pay people, pay artists a proper wage, because Spotify
Yeah,
makes a lot of money.
they
Uh,
do. The
so
CEO is worth $4 billion.
yeah, so even if
So,
you
you
just
know.
have that money,
It'll be
but yeah, no,
fine.
it was great talk to you, Sandra May, and I wish you all the best. I'm sure we'll hear more of you in the future, and
Oh,
I hope that the likes of Jules Holland will pick up on your
oh,
album as
that'd
well,
be
because
amazing.
that would be,
Yes,
because to me that's the pinnacle of every musician. If you have appeared on the later with Jules Holland show, that's it.
definitely.
That's like a stamp. You're certified
Yeah.
as a musician, and I'm pretty sure he will, though, because that's a type of your music is type of music I know he kind of likes as well. So it might not be immediately, but I don't think it will take too long for the likes of BBC to pick that up as well. So
Oh, I hope so.
no, I'm sure it will happen. So you can quote me on this. So
I
Dirk said it will
will.
happen.
Dirk.
It's gonna happen. So
Oh, Dirk,
okay,
thank you so much for having me and interviewing me. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm always
no
happy to
problem.
talk about the music.
Yeah, and before we leave, it's "Happily Ever Now" by Sandra Mae Lux. And Sandra Mae Lux. That's the album. If you like Motown, if you like R&B, if you like 70s music, you definitely will like this, and it's a must-have for any music lover. So
Oh, thank you.
you're welcome.
We'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
All right.